This is the view outside of my window, and it's gorgeous today. So I thought I'd share this with you. But more importantly, what's up? My name is Ezra. I will be posting videos on Mondays. A little bit about me before I get into the topic, which is my coming out stories. A little bit about myself. My name is Ezra Cole. I am 20 years old. I identify as queer and transmasculine. I use he, him, his pronouns. Things I like to do for fun in my free time. I longboard. I am a musician. I mostly play bass guitar and I scream. I sing too, but I'm not really any good at it, but it's fun anyway. Yeah, I'm a musician. That's probably the most interesting thing about me. But on to my coming out stories. So, being that I'm both queer in sexuality and queer in gender, I go through a lot of different coming outs. Like, coming out isn't just one process. You sit down and talk to my parents and then boom, it's over. Coming out is like a constant process, something that keeps happening over and over and over again. So it initially started with coming out to myself, which was mostly an acceptance process, because like I always knew that I had like this weird intense feeling toward girls, but like I always just assumed like I just wanted to be their friends, gal pals. And then around age 14, the school that I went to, like 65% of the female population was of some queer identity, queer curious. It was just, yeah. So around age 14 when I went to high school, this is the environment that I stepped into. So it was I was less capable of hiding from the fact that I was queer. Completely. And this was also the same year that I found out being a trans man was a thing that existed. Because in media, usually, and unfortunately, negative light at the time, the only thing you knew about were trans women and not even bi appropriate terms. So I knew that was a possibility, but it never clicked in my head that, like, transitioning FTM, female to male, was a thing, which excited the crap out of me. Like, it blew my mind when I first found out about it. But anyway, I'll get to that later. So that was where I started in terms of sexuality. I met a couple girls at the time that I would, like, kiss here and there. It was a thing. And I was like, alright, I guess this is a thing. I mean, it feels right. I know that my family says it's wrong. I know that the church says it's wrong. But it's something I need to face because it's something that's not going away. Like, throughout my entire life, it has not gone away. It's only intensified as I've grown older, due to a lot of different circumstances that I won't really get into right now specifically. But as far as coming out to my parents went, I've never officially talked to my dad about it. He just kind of knows because I guess once my transition came along, around 17, was when I started changing my wardrobe. He figured it out. We still have yet to talk about it, but I know my dad knows. As far as coming out to my mom goes, I had a girlfriend at the time when I was 16, and I didn't have a cell phone because my parents were really strict, so I would use the house phone after they went to sleep. But we have like 5 receivers to this house phone in my parents' house. So what that means is that my mom can pick up any other line of the phone, one of which is right next to her bed, and listen to whatever I'm talking about on the phone. So of course, me and my girlfriend at the time on the phone at 4 in the morning, my mom heard some things that she wasn't really supposed to hear, and that was how my mom found out. She kind of knew before, and she would ask me questions all the time about like the company that I was keeping and how they felt about me, how I felt about them, things like that. But it was always really hostile, so it wasn't an open enough environment where I could say, yes, Mom, I think I might be attracted to women. So what she did was, a couple hours later, like 6 in the morning, she came in my room and she sat down on my bed and she said, "Are you gay?" And I was knocked out. Like I was gone. Like I was so far asleep because I had just fallen asleep. I'd been asleep for maybe hour and a half, 2 hours. And she asked me that, and I just kind of like, "What, Mom? Like, what'd you ask me?" And I did that like 4 separate times before I just said, yes, I am. And at that point, she just started asking me a lot of extremely inappropriate questions, and you probably know the questions I'm speaking of. Well, have you tried being with a guy? Have you this and that? But whatever. So that was what coming out to my mom was like, and there was a lot of like fights and things associated with it afterward. I'm not going to act like it was all peaches and cream, but I'm better now. In terms of like what happened, dealing with it, forgiving my mom for it, etc., etc. Because I mean, I've gotten to a point where I understand that everyone isn't going to accept who I am. I mean, now, even as I'm getting more into my transition, I'm aware that not everybody's going to support who I am, and that's fine, but I still have to live. So in terms of figuring out that I was trans and then telling people, so the first thing I did was I reached out to the trans guy who went to my high school and started talking to him about it, and he showed me like his YouTube channel and things like that. So I got more information from trans Tumblr and trans YouTube about what being a trans man meant, what the whole process was about, what the possibilities were, how to cope with it, things like that. And then the first time I tried binding, it was my junior year of high school, and I had like this ankle ace bandage. Don't do ace bandages. But that was all I had at the time. So like I wrapped it around myself once I got to school, and I stepped out of the bathroom stall and I looked in the mirror, and there was just this like you know what it's like? I don't know how to like put it into words, but it was just a really good feeling. It was like suddenly 90% of the things that were wrong looked right, and I felt better, and I couldn't figure out where this euphoria came from. So I took the ace bandage off and I went along with my day, and then I tried it again later, like later on the same day. And that same feeling of euphoria came over me, that same feeling of like rightness and oneness with myself and the image that I saw when I looked in the mirror. Or even like, because I'm binding right now with an actual binder, or even like just the feeling of touching like a flat chest, like it felt right. And that was kind of the moment for me where I was like, okay, this isn't just like something I'm looking into and researching just to find out information about anymore. Like I think I might actually be trans. So I hung out with this guy over this summer, and he gave me one of his old binders that he didn't use anymore, and I put that on, and it was pretty much, that was it from there. Like, I knew I was trans. I told my mom like 2 weeks later. She didn't take it well, so I didn't tell anybody else after that outside of my friend group. Shout out to my friend group. Most of them were really supportive. I'm honestly at this point in my life where if anything was negative, either I don't face it or I just kind of laugh about it. Just because that's the coping mechanism that I developed, I suppose, to deal with these things. Because, I mean, it has been hard. Like, me and my mom get into fights where, like, I'd get put out the house for a week at a time. Me and my mom would get into fist fights that would just tear our house down because of my queerness, my transness. A lot of my friends abandoned me. A lot of my friends just straight up disrespected me. Girls that I dated just straight up disrespected me, or just like were extremely insensitive, and it wasn't easy. But like I had to find ways to cope with it, so I just figured, screw all the people who weren't accepting, appreciate the people who were. So I didn't come out to anybody for about 3 years until this recent January 2016. I called my dad and I told him, now mind you, like, my dad's a preacher. My dad's a preacher. My father is a preacher. So I told him I was trans, and he was like, yeah, I know. I've known for a while. I've just been waiting for you to tell me. He said, I love you no matter what. And then he goes, any father that doesn't love his daughter never loved his daughter to begin with. and that was when I knew like it wasn't going anywhere good. And then he said, but me and Jesus are gonna make you normal again. You're gonna be okay. You're not gonna walk in this sin. And I was like, all right, Dad, that's all I need. I came out to my stepdad too, I think maybe the same night, and I also told my mom that I'd actually be changing my name the same night, and that my stepdad was just like, do what you need to do to stay alive. My mom started asking me all these weird questions, like if I was sexually assaulted as a child and things like that, which I was, but it's not going to change who I've grown into, because I like who I'm growing into. I like the man that I'm becoming, whether I start testosterone or not. Like, I'm okay with who I am, so. But yeah, so that's what coming out to my family was like. I think maybe like 2 weeks after, that's a lot, a couple months after, because it was in February when I changed my name on Facebook to Ezra. It's about a month after I came out to everybody officially. I changed my name on Facebook, and now I'm in the process of saving money so I can change my name legally. So that's my coming out stories. I say two because I had to come out as both trans and queer in terms of sexuality. So yeah, this video was much longer than I anticipated. Like, my intent was to condense all of this into a smaller like video so it wouldn't be 12 minutes long. But if you watch all this, thanks for watching, and tune in to everyone else's videos this week, and see you later.
That's why I love it, I love it, love it, I love it, love it, I love it.